flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. Hey, my name is Tristan, and I'm in second grade, and I asked my teacher to show me an experiment where water curves. She couldn't do it because it doesn't curve. The water always finds its level.
What'd your teacher do?
She just didn't talk to me anymore. All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. Couldn't do it.
Up for sound bites. This is awesome.
All right, welcome back to Anti-Religious Scripture Study with me, Karen B., and of course, Just Jack Flat Earth.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. I am not a Mason. This means Earth is flat.
It is flat. If I went like this, then I'd be a Mason.
As I just did that.
If I did this, or if I did, whatever. I don't know.
Or if I did this. Or if I did
Or
this.
if I did this.
Yeah,
Anyway,
buddy, let's start with a little Masonic hand signery.
yeah. We're overexposing ourselves or whatever. No. I denounce anything that is not of Yah or of his holy scriptures, the Torah.
Right?
Anyway, I must have closed it when I closed the translation thingy. Oh my goodness. All right, hold up, folks. Sorry. After all of that, I had it open and then I accidentally closed it when I closed the translation I was in the middle of, or at the end of, I should say. Yay, there it is. Okay. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. Just Jack's disclaimer. To the religious, if you believe it's wrong to study the scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about scripture, including the scripture shouldn't be studied at all, then this stream is not for you. To others, if you're open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about scripture, if you've been turned off to religion, believe there's truth in scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to scripture and like to dig in and discover more, then this stream is for you. We are looking at scripture in the original language using concordances or dictionaries for root words, as well as context from a non-religion perspective. We will as well have life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology or doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, or Judaism. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how religions contradict the scriptures. There we go.
All right.
All right.
Take a nice deep breath.
So, am I muted? I'm muted.
No. No, you're not muted.
Okay. Okay. My bad. I thought it said it was muted. Anyway, so I guess we could do a quick recap if you'd like. This is a collection of commands now. Moshe has built the tabernacle, set up the priesthood with Aaron and his sons. They're now establishing the commands that were written down by Moshe while he was in the mountains for 40 days and 40 nights. He did not go up there, record 10 commandments, and come back down. That did not happen for 40 days and 40 nights. He was up there recording the history and the commands that Yah told him to record word for word, letter for letter. Okay? And last week we were talking about unlawful sexual relations, which when you read the header was pretty shocking to me. Like, what are you reading? But a lot of it seems to be, it should be common sense for 90% of this. Basically, don't get involved in incest, don't steal other people's wives, etc., etc. Don't sleep with animals and whatnot. There's a reason that male and female are made male and female, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go ahead and get into chapter 19. And if any of you remember when I started this book, I said I'm not going to go chapter by chapter. There's just too much to do. I'm just going to look through it and then just hit on the subjects that have to deal with everyone. And after I got through the priesthood, it's like, dang it, every chapter has a bunch of information that's absolutely important to get through. So we're going to get through it. All right. So that was me trying to be human and lazy, by the way. Just saying, I'm faulty. So, all right.
And Yehovah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to all the congregation of the children of Israel, and say to them, Be set apart, for I, Yehovah, your Elohim, am set apart.
Okay, so congregation is a better word would be community, right? It's the witnesses of, okay? So it's a group of witnesses. They all share in the same experience. They all share in the same information, so they're witnesses to the event. Being set apart, this is the word that is translated as holy, even though holy is a deity. It's still worshipped in India today, where they throw like paint around and stuff and they get all colorful and stuff for holy. But being set apart as Jehovah is set apart, the more that you apply the scriptures, or let's leave scriptures to the side for a second. The more that you apply truth to your life, the more set apart you become, right? Think about this. When we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about anything like healthcare or geography, or government, anything that you start finding out the truth of and you start applying it in your life, you start becoming set apart. Less and less people want to hang around you. You understand this?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any experience like this, Karen, ever?
Yes.
Like the more truth you apply, the less people want to hang out with you. It's amazing, right?
Yeah, it's
Um,
yeah. It's true.
and my thing is like, you're making an effort to search out the truth and applying it, where other people don't want to look into it at all. They just want to go about their lives. It works good enough or whatever. But the thing is when you live that life in front of those people, it kind of convicts them. Like, maybe it is something I should worry about, but I don't want to. And you being around worrying about this stuff makes me worry. So go away, right? It's a conviction by proxy. If you're just living your life, like you don't even have to say anything. You're just living your life according to, well, I don't trust anything about these stories about history. I don't trust anything about government. And people being around you are like, oh, I can't be around you. You make me think about too much stuff, right? That's what it comes down to. So being set apart as Yah is set apart, well, Yah is the most set apart, right? He's far from us as far as like having everything perfect and right. And, as we apply these truths in our lives, it doesn't matter what they are, we become more set apart, which is why you have less and less groups of people that you can hang out with, which is why Flattoberfest is amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because you become set apart and you hang out with others who are set apart as well. So it makes it way better. Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
verse 3, sorry.
Okay. Each one of you should fear his mother and his father and guard my Sabbaths. I am Yehovah your Elohim.
Okay, so to fear as in thrown back, like in awe of, or um you shouldn't be scared of your parents, right? But you should have enough awe of them that you're going to listen to them. However, these are people who live according to Yah's word, right? You should fear your father and mother and guard my Sabbath. This is all encompassing, right? This is, your parents are trying to teach you right from wrong, so therefore you should be thrown back because they've already gone through the experience, they're already learning. But when you have parents that like do not give a crap about doing the right thing, they're not the ones you should be thrown back at, right? And then I think in King James Version, okay, no, it does say fear. Okay. So I was looking at like honor the other day, like honor your father and mother, like being not honor so much as they have weight to them. It's the weighty matters. So, all right, verse 4.
All right. Do not turn to idols and do not make for yourselves molded mighty ones. I am Yehovah your Elohim.
Self-explanatory, I think.
Um,
Verse 5.
and when you slaughter a slaughtering of peace offerings to Yehovah, slaughter it for your acceptance.
Slaughter, 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 slaughter. So sacrifice is the word I would use here, not slaughter. Let's see. It even says sacrifice in King James Version. I prefer that over slaughter. It's like slaughter, slaughter, slaughter.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I have here is you shall sacrifice shalom to Jehovah for your will, sacrifice to him, right? So this is a offering or sacrifice of shalom. So this has nothing to do with sin. This has nothing to do with what's required of you. It's like I have peace and or want more peace, so I'm making an offering. Yeah, it has to do with peace, nothing else. All
Yeah.
right.
All right. It is eaten the same day you slaughter it and
Offer.
offer it, and on the next day, and that which is left on the third day is burned with fire.
Don't eat 3-day-old meat. All right. All right.
So if it is eaten at all on the third day, it is abominable, it is not accepted.
And usually your body will tell you it's not accepted.
Right. And he who eats it bears his crookedness, because he has profaned the set apart offering of Jehovah, and that being shall be cut off from his people.
So this is specific to the peace offering, right? So you're offering something to Jehovah and you dishonor it. So then it's not offering it anymore. It's you're turning it into your own thing. All right.
All right. And when you reap the harvest of your land, do not completely reap the corners of your field or gather the gleanings of your harvest.
Okay.
And do not glean your vineyard or gather every grape of your vineyard. Leave them for the poor and the stranger. I am Jehovah, your Elohim.
Okay, so this is a characteristic of Yah, right? This is why he puts his name and his title at the end of it, is because you don't harvest your entire field and you don't gather all your grapes. You leave some of it so that nobody is wanting.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if there's somebody's just passing through or there's somebody who can't afford to buy food. Nobody's starving. There's wheat, there's grain, there's grapes, there's something somewhere for somebody to eat, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the concept that Yah wanted, that nobody should be wanting at all
Right.
within the community.
Right. Instead, we throw food in the garbage.
Exactly.
Do not steal, do not lie, do not deceive one another.
Okay, so I'm going to ruffle some feathers here. There are different levels within Torah. There's the stranger, okay? Then there's let's one step farther would be the nations, then the stranger, then the sojourner, then the neighbor, then the brother. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And neighbor and friend are close. Okay, so neighbor, friend, brother. Okay, so different people have different requirements on how you interact with them. Okay. This says do not deceive your neighbor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Even though it just says to one another, like it's specific of neighbor or higher rank, meaning neighbor, friend, brother, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So swearing falsely with, I mean, not swearing falsely, but dealing falsely with a enemy may be different.
Okay.
In other words, you can lie to your enemy, is what I'm trying to say here.
Right.
Yeah, some people may disagree with that, but yeah, I can't, yeah. It, I think that the Torah says that you need to be truthful to ones who are connected to you and not to those who are trying to harm you. So,
I would agree with that.
yeah, but there's some people who want it like it's never okay to lie. No, I disagree. I can't find anywhere in the Torah that says it's never okay to lie.
Yeah.
And I can find multiple locations where the righteous men of Yah lied to wicked people. So
Yeah, for self-preservation.
for preservation, yes. Yep.
Okay. And do not swear falsely by my name, and so profane the name of your Elohim. I am Yehovah.
Okay. So do not swear falsely by my name. And do not make an oath of deception. Okay. So in the future, I know I don't usually address the New Testament, but I'm going to in this instance. The newer Greek versions say, do not swear by anything. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. But it literally says, do not swear falsely by anything. So the reason this is because the religious people would say, well, we're not swearing falsely by his name because we're swearing falsely by a title. We're not swearing falsely by the temple, but we're swearing falsely by the altar. In other words, they'll put something on a higher level that you must swear truthfully to, and then something on a lower level where you can kind of like, BS and swear. Swear to something with, intent to deceive. So that changes the New Testament version of that as well. So, but it says do not swear falsely. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Do not oppress your neighbor or rob him. The wages of him who is hired is not to remain with you all night until morning.
Okay, so this is not neighbor. I mean, it is kind of, but it's actually friend. Like this is a little bit closer than neighbor, but they're kind of on the same level. Okay, so when you look at the instructions for neighbor and friend, they're typically pretty parallel. But like you don't do it to your next door neighbor and you don't do it to your friend. Yeah. The wages of him who is hired is not to remain with you all night until morning. What this means is a day's worker is a day's wage. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in a servitude, right? If you sell yourself into servitude, then you're not a day worker. You're not a hired wage. You're an indentured servant. So that means if something happens at night, you would be the guy to like go and take care of it. Like, oh, a cow knocked down a fence. You better go fix that, right? You're the guy. You're the indentured servant. So you're dealt with more harshly than the quote unquote neighbor or friend as a hired wage. Okay. And that's, the temporary dweller of employment or wage. All right.
All right. Do not curse the deaf or put a stumbling block before the blind, but fear your Elohim. I am Yehovah.
Okay, so do not curse the deaf or the people who sign or engrave, and do not, from the hidden or the blind, you do not topple. Okay, so is this just talking about, well, you can cuss at a non-deaf person or you can trip a non-blind person? No, that's not what it means. It means don't take advantage of somebody, right? If
Right.
they have a disability, you don't take advantage of that, just to try to get away with something. It's not specific to, only be nice to deaf and only be nice to blind. No, it's like don't take advantage of somebody's, shortcomings.
Right. Do no unrighteousness in right ruling. Do not be partial to the poor or favor the face of the great, but rightly rule your neighbor in righteousness.
Okay, there we go with neighbor again. So when we're dealing with unrighteousness, it's do no staining or darkening, right? So don't even stain the judgment. And then the poor is the one who has a hung head like a door. So this is the door poor. Yeah. And don't turn your face to the magnified, but judge straight and right. So yeah, there's a lot of that not going on. Like if you have enough money to throw at a situation, you can get away with a lot of stuff. Yeah.
All right. Do not go slandering among your people. Do not stand against the blood of your neighbor. I am Yehovah.
So the slandering is story trader. So you trade stories. Do not stand against the blood of your friend. See, it's interchangeable, but I still think if it says friend, you should say friend, and neighbor, say neighbor, but whatever.
Yeah. Do not hate your brother in your heart. Reprove your neighbor for certain and bear no sin because of him.
Okay, so this is brother, right? Do not hate your brother. That's immediate. And reprove your neighbor. So reprove is,
It
let's
says
see,
rebuke over there.
rebuke, which is yachak and yachak. So it says yachak twice. I don't see that. Oh yeah, the yachak, you yachak. Okay, so this means to chastise, to prove, to make just. Okay. And if you translate Yakach, you might be able to translate it as Jack. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, yes, but no. But yeah, that's what I that's what I think is the closest Hebrew word to my name is Yakach, which means to make right, to prove to be true. So
All right.
and to be just, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
Jack. Just
Right.
kidding. Just Jack. But not kidding. But yes, kidding. But not.
Okay.
It's an interesting coincidence. Let's put it that way.
All right. Do not take vengeance or bear a grudge against the children of your people, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Yehovah.
Mm. Love your neighbor as yourself. That sounds familiar. Huh. So this is the context of the verse that Yeshua was quoting when somebody would say that in certain philosophies that he replaced all the laws of the commands if you just love God and love your neighbor. Okay. So this verse that he's quoting right here, you know how we've looked at how they separate verses that shouldn't be separated and they separate chapters that shouldn't be separated?
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those incidences because you'll see in the next one, it starts with guard my laws, and then it starts a new subject altogether. You see verse 19, how it has guard my laws, but then it starts a new conversation about livestock.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now read verse 18 and that first verse of 19 as it should have been separated.
Do not take vengeance or bear a grudge against the children of your people, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. What do you mean without the break?
Keep reading.
And you shall love the neighbor as yourself. I am Yehovah.
Keep reading.
Guard my laws. Do not let your
No, no,
lives.
no, 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 no. That's what I'm saying. The first verse of 19 should be at the end of 18.
Oh, okay.
So you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Jehovah. Guard my laws.
Oh,
Makes sense,
okay.
right?
Yes, okay.
See how they separated it though?
Yeah.
Because the people who had an agenda of the New Testament didn't want to include guard my laws in loving your neighbor as yourself. The way that you love your neighbor as yourself, as we were just reading some commands of how to treat your neighbor, treat your brother, the way you wanted to be treated, right? Do
Mm-hmm.
unto others,
Mm-hmm.
right? You love your neighbor as yourself. I am Jehovah, guard my laws. How do you love your neighbor as yourself? You guard my laws. The instructions are there to teach you how to love your neighbor as you love yourself. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
So let's start with the word do in verse 19.
Okay. Do not let your livestock mate with another kind. Do not sow your field with mixed seed, and do not put a garment woven of two sorts of thread upon you.
Okay. So there's something very obvious here. This is do not mixed unlike kinds. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So like when they produce something to have a higher yield by mixing animal and plant DNA, do you think that this command might be applied as well? Because they're mingling two different types.
Yeah.
This says don't mix your livestock, don't mix your field, don't mix your garments. Well, how about mixing your field with your animals? That's
Yeah.
a pretty bad mixture.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think Yah is good with GMOs. I'm just saying, though. Anyway,
Right. And when a man has intercourse with a woman who is a female servant engaged to a man and to be ransomed, but she has not been ransomed nor set free, there should be an inquiry, but they are not put to death because she was not free.
okay. This is a mouthful, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's even worse in King James Version. It says, she shall be scourged, right?
Mm-hmm.
She should be like beaten. Okay. The King James Version really screws this up. I mean, whosoever lieth certainly carnally with a woman that is a bondmaid, betrothed to a husband, and not at all redeemed, nor freedom given to her, she shall be scourged, and they shall not be put to death because she was not free. Why should she be beat if some dude slept with her, right?
Yeah.
especially when she's not technically a wife yet. She's just promised to another. Okay. So this one is a proper interpretation. It's inquiry. It is to have a meeting with. So call to a meeting. This is, I'll find it here. Where is it? Oh, there it is. In call meet of. Okay. I don't know why they went to see, even the King James Version, it comes from an inquiry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where does scourge come in? And then punishment, right? It's like, I don't know what they're doing here. It's just properly an examination. Punishment scourged. What? No, they're asking her what happened. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because they wanted to make sure that she was consensual. That's why they have to ask her what's going on. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
They need to make an inquiry of like, did this guy have his way with you because you were working with him or working for him, or was it consensual?
Mm-hmm.
Right? An inquiry was made. Okay. So when a man has intercourse with a woman who is his female servant, so she's an indentured servant in the house who is promised to another man, as soon as the man pays the debt of her, she becomes his wife. Okay. So there's a man who says, I'm going to pay her debt so that she can become my wife. And she's like, yeah, that's a good idea for me. And then before she is ransomed, she hooks up with the dude who she's working for. Now, she technically should not be hooking up with the dude because she was promised to another man, but stuff happens, right?
Right.
And she's not been free from her debt, and she's not been redeemed by the man who's going to buy her for a husband. So they need to ask her, was this consensual? But it says no one was put to death because she was not free. So she was not out for the new man. She was not to be married to the other man yet. So it's a sticky situation, but it obviously needed to be dealt with, to be mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Must have happened a lot.
Yeah, I imagine it would. Like if you are in close proximity of an attractive female who's working for you, I mean, maybe your attractions build, and then like, well, I might as well take her for my wife, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And he shall bring his guilt offering to Jehovah to the door of the tent of appointment, a ram as a guilt offering.
Okay, so he's guilty of not paying the price ahead of time. Okay,
Right.
because he was supposed to pay for her. What's the word?
Dowry.
Dowry. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So he was of guilt. However, he pays for his guilt with the offering. Okay, and he still has to do the dowry, right? So he still has to take care of her, which I'm sure he does. She's already living with him. It's not a big transition.
Mm-hmm.
So
And the priest shall make atonement for him with a ram of the guilt offering before Jehovah for his sin which he has done, and the sin which he has sinned shall be forgiven him.
and what is sin is the distance or the measurement off mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the separation between him and Yah. So he had to make things right to make that connection valid.
And when you come into the land and have planted all kinds of trees for food, then you shall reckon their fruit as uncircumcised. For 3 years it is as uncircumcised to you, it is not eaten.
It's foreskinned. Hard concept. So you don't cut from the tree for these times, right?
Right.
So these are uncut, uncircumcised for 4 years. For 3 years, sorry. So what that means is that any fruit that grows within that 3 years falls to the ground and becomes fertilizer for the tree for the first 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Which anybody who's had fruit trees, the first couple of years of fruit is not that great anyway.
Right. And in the fourth
All right.
year All its fruit is set apart, praises to Yehovah.
So now you're picking the fruit and offering it. All right.
And in the 5th year you eat its fruit, so that it increases its yield to you. I am Yehovah, your Elohim.
So if you do this process, it's going to be an extra fruity tree.
Do not eat meat with blood. With the blood, do not practice divination or magic.
It does not say meat.
What does it say?
It is
Yeah.
italicized in the
Yeah.
scriptures, and it's not italicized in the King James Version. It does not say meat. You don't eat on the blood. You just don't. We talked about this before. You don't eat blood. You do not practice divination, which divination is that word nachash.
Mm-hmm.
The word translated as serpent in Genesis chapter 2 and 3. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do not practice divination or magic. Magic is doing cloud vision.
Mm-hmm.
Cloud vision. It says magic here, but it's cloud vision. I believe that's my guess is like seance type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 27.
I think it's interesting that they say don't eat the blood and then they put don't practice divination or magic.
No, it's the same. Yeah, it's the
Right.
same
So,
process.
right, I was going to say, so it's obviously connected. There's something connected with consuming blood and then doing those weird rituals.
Right. Right, exactly. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, and I think those powers that should not be do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like ritualistically. Right?
Yeah. Do not round the corner of your head, nor destroy the corner of your beard.
What's up?
That's weird. Why is it worded like that? The corners, not round the corners of your head?
Okay, so back in the day, and this is the way that you have to learn the cultural practices of the surrounding nations. Okay? So the what are they called? Oh my gosh. Who's the people that they drove out of the land? I can't think. Canaanites. So they had the Canaanites and the Egyptians had this practice of shaving their heads, right? The sides of their heads and shaving their faces.
Mm-hmm.
And thereby they could get involved in sexual immoralities because there's no distinction between a man and a woman because they would all look the same, right? Like whenever you see depictions in the paintings on the walls in Egypt and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
they all have the shaved heads and bald faces. The only one who had a beard within Egypt was the pharaoh or the high-ranking officials. So that beard gave them authority, even within Egypt. So the underlings were not allowed to have beards at all. They were considered like cattle. They were considered they can do whatever they want with them. I mean, there's weird histories even as far as the Greeks go, you know, when they were like shaving their faces and, you know, having their promiscuities and stuff like that. Like, oh, that's an attractive male servant, but I want him to be a female, so cut that off so I can do what I need to do type of deal. Like that's written Greek history. Like it's disgusting stuff.
Ooh.
And the guy has nothing to say about it. It's not like he chose to, like, you know, have his stuff, you know, mutilated for the sake of a rich man to have his way with him.
Right.
Anyway,
it's horrible.
Yeah.
And do not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor put tattoo marks on you. I am Yehovah.
Yeah, and it's mark. That's what the inscriptions or scribes and marks. So these are anything of permanent markings for the dead and tattoo marks on you.
Cuttings in your flesh for the dead.
Somebody said, I had somebody tell me, well, tattoos have to do with the dead because of the context. But if you read the context of the entire chapter, it's not all about rituals of the dead. The destroying the corner of your beard and shaving your head has nothing to do with the dead. Cutting your flesh for the dead has to do with the dead, yes. But do not put permanent marks on you. I am Yehovah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 29.
All right. Do not profane your daughter by making her a whore, so that the land does not whore, and the land becomes filled with wickedness.
So whenever people say that the daughters were treated like cattle, okay, like the instance that I was talking about the other nations do, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they can just pawn their daughter off as a bargaining chip to get what they want. This scripture right here completely goes against that. Do not make your daughter a whore. Don't pawn her off to somebody and get your own personal gain out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says don't do that. And when people misread the scriptures, like we were just talking about that bondmaid who was in servitude, like they play that off as her dad sold her into slavery. That's not it. There's a debt owed that she volunteered to, you take care of me and I'll work for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was a widow. Maybe she had no family and she's like, you know, she doesn't want to be a wife, but she's willing to work as a bond slave. So she's taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different things in here where if you don't read the entirety of the scriptures and get context, you can make up any kind of stories you want and say that as history, and it's not. You are not allowed to sell your daughter to be a whore. That's against Torah.
Thank goodness.
Oh, this is the wrong version in the middle here. There we go. Yeah, thank goodness. Yep, I agree. Yeah, I mean, but you understand, like, there's the people that like really want to push this whole, it's a patriarchal, chauvinistic, women are just material possessions, blah 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 blah. There's a lot of people who paint it that way, but if you read the scriptures in the entirety of its context, no, it's impossible for you to look at the scriptures that way. They were females were a valued commodity, for lack of a better term. It took nothing for you to get rid of your son, but it takes everything for someone to be able to have your daughter. So,
All right. Guard my Sabbaths and reverence my set apart place. I am Yehovah.
okay, pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. Do not turn to mediums and do not seek after spiritists to be defiled by them. I am Yehovah, your Elohim.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. So spiritists says in King James Version, those who have familiar spirits. Okay. But what these are the people that invoke their ancestors. It's the fathers of. That's what they're called, the fathers of. Okay. So they invoke their fathers for whatever spiritual power. Okay. And then that would be mediums, actually. That one's mediums. And then spiritists are the ones translated as wizards in King James Version. And I misspelled this because I spelled no without an N. Okay. It's a big cow. So they're the collective seeing and knowing. Okay, so they're a collective of seeing and knowing. So they don't just know. Okay, so the original sin was eating of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay, so these people were experts in the knowledge of good and evil, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So they invoked all kinds of quote unquote knowledge, good and evil. Again, I think these are still practiced today by the powers that should not be.
Oh,
All of these things.
yeah.
Because the Luciferians are really big about keeping things in the family, including like invoking the spirits of their ancestors and stuff. So anyway.
All right.
All right.
Rise up before the gray-headed, and you shall favor the face of an old man, and shall fear your Elohim. I am Yehovah.
Old man. Old man. How dare you? Okay. So gray hair is the ones who have turned. Okay. So you have a stage in your life where you turn, right? So
Yes.
this is both the males and the females. Okay. And then it says old man. It's not old man. It's Zaken. which is the bearded or the elder. So you must have a beard to be an elder.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not favor the face of an old man, it's favor the face of a beard. All right. Favor the face of a beard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in other words, you don't reject these things like, oh no, I'm turning gray, or oh no, my beard's getting long. No, mad props. You've made it to the change. Your beard is growing. It's good. It's good. All right. Rise up before them. They've gone through it. All right.
And when
33,
a stranger
33, 33, 33. Just kidding.
and when a stranger sojourns with you in your land, do not oppress him.
Okay, here we go again. If a stranger sojourns in the land, the guy who's coming to try to join in, you do not treat him bad. This is against what other people think. Oh, if you're a stranger, then they can do whatever they want with you. No, it literally says, do not oppress him, do not vex him.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Let the stranger who dwells among you be to you as the native among you, and you shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Mitzrayim. I am Yehovah, your Elohim.
Do you think that strangers are treated badly in Israel? According to this.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes no sense. Like, there are people who have made hours of dedicated content trying to tear apart the Bible, talking about how evil the God of the Bible was, how if you're a stranger in the land, then you're treated like cattle, you're treated like not human, you can be taken advantage of, you can be beaten, you can be turned into a slave, all this other stuff. It says, the stranger who sojourns among you, let him be as the native among you. You shall love him as yourself, as of a native born. Because you were natives. I mean, you were strangers in Mitzrayim, right? And out of Mitzrayim, right? They're coming into Canaan as strangers.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Do no unrighteousness in right ruling, in measurement of length, in weight, or in measuring liquids.
Okay. So no unrighteousness, in no darkening, no staining in any kind of measurement, whether it be measurement of ruling, measurement of length, measurement of weight, measurement of liquid. And we can continue on.
Mm-hmm.
Scales, weights,
Yeah.
ephah, hin.
Yeah. Have right scales, right weights, and right ephah, and a right hin. I am Yehovah, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim.
Now, some may say that the modern people who claim to be from Israel, okay, I'll try to be as vague as possible. The modern people who claim to be of Israel do not have right scales and right weights and right ephah and right hin. They're notorious for ripping people off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mentioning any names here. I'm just, those who claim to be from Israel. That's all. It could be anybody. Could be anybody. Anyway, go ahead.
And you shall guard all my laws and all my right rulings and do them. I am Yehovah.
Guard means to protect. Like, now, King James Version says observe. No, like protect them. Don't let them fall to the wayside. Don't let them be usurped by religions and practices and all this other stuff. Guard them. They're important. Yeah. Alrighty, I'll jump into chitty chat. Let's see here. YouTube's. Sorry, I didn't have the chat up, but I was at the final hour translating the Torah this morning. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of new words. All right, chat coming up. Excuse me for the wait, guys. If you would like to ask a specific question, please type question or tag my name or Karen's name or something so it highlights.
Oh, honey, just scroll. Alex hit you with so many questions. You're going to be busy for the next hour.
Alex.
And also
Alex who?
Peaceful
Javier.
cheers for the super chat. What is it? What does your message say? Little pieces can build green. I'll say, peace, Jack. I don't know how to read that, but thank you for your message.
All right, shalom. Okay. I don't know what he typed either, but shalom. Thank you. Oh, Alex Javier.
Yes.
Alex Javier chats with me a lot. So,
He asked a ton of questions.
yes. Okay. Let's get through this. Shout out to Boston Ray. Anson Howard. Just Carolyn, my wife. Boston Ray again. Mark Static. Alex Javier. And a literalist. Let's see.
Critical conception.
Dennis Amarad. Jay. Just Jay. Joe Cool. Mad Mac. I think I said Anson Howard already. If I didn't, sorry. I think I did. Daryl Davis, what's up, brother? Critical Inception, what's up, brother? I'm saying what's up, brother, because I know these people like personally. Like I've hung out with them. I know them pretty well. Aisling 717, what's up, brother? No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Cammy. I like learning new words. Yeah, me too. Yep. All right.
Valley Park.
Josh Yazar L. Awesome name. What are red flags to you that you think the book of Job is not canon? Oof. It has to do with linguistics. The beginning of Job was written last. Do your investigation on what I just said and make your own decision. Don't take my word for it. Kelly Jelly, what's up? Effie Nation, what's up, brother? All right. Let me see if there's questions now. Carolyn says there's a lot of questions, but I don't know. I don't see them.
It doesn't let you go up that far.
Oh, maybe it doesn't let me go up that far.
No, it's not letting me.
Hey, Karen, you want to go through the chat and read the 1,000 questions?
Well, I can only go back so far too, so I don't know what I'm missing.
Oh. A woman's hair is her protection. There is a tradition of women having long hairs and that being a covering for them.
I guess I
What
can't
about
go back
Israelites
far
under
enough.
bondage not having Torah beards? Israelites under bondage not having Torah beards. I mean,
Do you
if they're under bondage, that's not their choice, is it? So,
There's one. A lot more. Someone asked what you use to do this, the website search, like if you were using eSword. That was what I
yes,
remember.
I'm using eSword, my sword. My sword is like the knockoff version of it on the Android phone, but it's really good. But yeah, eSword has a Android app now. Finally, they have their own personal app, and it's not great. It's not as functional. The version that I have on my computer is regular eSword. They have eSword X, I think, on your what's it called on your version?
Yeah, it's
Karen?
eSword X.
Yeah, eSword X, which I think you got to pay, I don't know, like $10 for or something like that.
I forget how much I paid for it, but it wasn't that much. I mean, it's not very
Yeah.
expensive.
I mean, it parallels software that you can pay thousands of dollars for. I'm not kidding.
I find it really useful if I want to look up the meaning of words or go find something really quick. Like it's good if you're studying scripture or reading it. It's a good tool to have.
Shout out to Marky Rizzo. Yeah, it's good to have the parallels. It's good to have the extra dictionaries. There's lots of stuff. Mr. Miyagi, shout out.
Karen, did you guys
My
share
2 cents. Great job, Ted. Ted, is he in here or is he just shouting them out?
I have no idea.
Jehovah bless. Let's see. Kelly Jelly, I'm growing my hair out and my husband too. His beard, and his beard. Love it. Awesome, Kelly. Awesome. My wife, when I first decided that I was going to grow my hair based on reading scripture, my wife said, if you don't shave, I don't shave. That didn't last long. But she loves my beard now. She loves my beard now. She's like, I could not even imagine you without a beard. It would be so horrible. So, love women with long hair, but yes, lol. Yeah, I too am happy when my wife is wearing her hair as a covering. It's great. Anyway, StreamYard app allows you to go all the way back through chat. Yeah, unfortunately, we're not doing that. Valley Parks, what's up?
I don't use StreamYard because their sound sucks. It's just it's a
Genesis.
Go ahead.
Genesis Elijah. Karen B, did you guys deal with Exodus 21:10? Did we deal with Exodus 21:10?
Well, I mean, we went through the entire book of Exodus, but what do you mean did we
Yeah.
deal with it?
I'll look really quick and see if it's something I can address quickly. If not, I'll just tell them to go look for the episode.
This is laws about slaves.
No, it's not. It's about having a second wife, and then if you do, you don't stop taking care of your first wife. Yep, we addressed it. No problem. Yeah, make sure you treat your first wife well. There you go. There, we've addressed it now. All right. Let's see. Long hair is gorgeous. Yeah, shout out to Daryl again. Yeah. I think our Russian friend should get a translator when he's typing stuff. I don't know if it would even work because I think he's using half Russian and then half like drawing English letters out. Because obviously little is not little. How to build a greenhouse. Okay. I don't think that was it. Anyway.
Did you see, elaborate more on being deceitful to people outside of your circle. Is that why women lie so much? Like Karen said, self-preservation. Did you address that question?
I don't know if I should address that question.
What do you mean, is that
sounds
why
like a loaded
women lie
question to
so?
me.
It is a loaded question. Like men don't lie?
Yeah,
Everybody on
say,
both sides
like,
lie.
I was gonna say it's kind of like there's women who are like, look, I've been involved with women that are habitual liars, like almost everything they say out of their mouth is a lie. But I've dealt with men like that too.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty loaded question. But I also know women that are truthful to a fault, which is kind of my deal too. I'm also truthful to a fault. Like, I don't think sex has anything to do with lying. I do think that, in certain situations, there are people that may lie for self-preservation, but if that's your constant life, if that's what you have to do to survive, maybe you should get out of the situation you're in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty yeah. I don't think that there's a lot of situations that I can, address, but if you're in a situation where you have to lie to preserve yourself on a regular basis, do not be in that situation anymore.
Right.
All right, so
like an abusive
Alex,
relationship or something.
Alex shot me several screenshots of his questions. So, okay, so that's one you just said. Also, always used to tell the truth to everyone. People at work called me Honest Abe. Yeah, Aisling 717, men lie too. Have you ever been asked by a woman if these jeans make me look fat? and men typically lie to answer the question. Oh, that's funny. Oh, all right. Okay, I already answered the question about Job. Let's see.
Cammy says, I prefer people with no filter. Bob pretty much lacked one. It's refreshing and you know the compliments are real. Maybe that's why we're friends, Cammy, because I don't have much of a filter.
Shout out to Spicy Sarah and Big Pine Sailing that I missed, and Good Times for All, Zachary Zabala. I missed them, but I got them in this screenshot.
Joe Cool, Mad Mac, Boston Ray, Anson Howard. Good to
Commercial
see
sound and
everybody in
video.
chat. Yeah, Daryl Davis, Critical Inception.
Unfortunately,
Valley
lies can only
Parks.
exist for a limited amount of time, while the truth stays true forever. But all the people have wrong concepts about everything, so ignore me. And that was our Russian titled friend. I'm just scrolling through the different screenshots, my bad.
You guys are funny.
You're reading the same stuff I am, so this makes for an interesting video, let me tell you.
I know, right? Us reading you guys your comments. All right. Any other questions we're seeing there? I feel like we got them all.
I'm looking at some interesting comments that it's like, yep, stream not for you. Bye. All right, I think I've gone through all the screenshots, so.
The only filter I need is a coffee filter. But
all right, well, for those of you who are on the Torah calendar, tomorrow is Shavuot. It's a party day. Enjoy. Eat, drink, be merry. And we're going to be hanging with some friends and having a good time, so.
Right on.
Shabbat shalom, y'all.
All right, Shabbat shalom, and thank you everybody for joining us for another episode of Anti-Religious Scripture Study. And we will be back again next Saturday, excuse me.
And the earth is still flat.
And the earth was, and always will be flat and stationary.
Hear, hear.
All right, and hopefully I will see some of you or most of you at Flatoberfest. All right. See y'all later.
Bye.